Thank you so much. Billy, I can't believe you're here. Thank you so much. Adam, I can't believe you got the Holocaust play into the medley. That's wild. Thank you all for being here. I'm struggling with the icon of it all. I just feel like an icon doesn't need beta blockers to get through this, but here we are. Thank you to Rachel Freed, and thank you, this incredible organization. Rach and David, you guys are, the work you do is unbelievable. I'm so honored. And I think what makes tonight particularly moving for me is just the sheer irony of it all. That the two qualifiers of my alleged icon status and those which bring us together tonight to celebrate being Jewish and being queer were, for decades, the very parts of myself that I tried hardest to edit out, to dilute and hide entirely. They were, in fact, the sources of my deepest shame. Growing up, I spent an extraordinary amount of energy trying to be a more acceptable version of myself. Not too Jewish, not too gay or femme, not too loud, not too emotional. I thought that if I could shrink myself into something a little bit safer, a little quieter, a little easier to digest, then maybe I would be okay. Believe it or not, in high school, I flat out refused to do musicals. Not because I didn't love them, I obviously loved them. Cut to me, 16 years old, flying down the street, going 65 and a 25, just screaming by myself, defying gravity when Wicked came out on CD. But I refused to do them at school because somewhere in my terrified teenage brain, I decided that musicals might reveal a little bit too much about me. So instead, I was over in the drama lab, rehearsing the Heidi Chronicles and dating girls. Hold for gasps, or laughs. And sadly, that instinct to distance myself from parts of my identity didn't stop once I entered the professional world. It just showed up in a new way. I managed somehow to come out in college, but once I began my professional career and found myself getting called in for explicitly Jewish roles, rabbis, neurotic sons, anxious intellectuals, I quietly resented it. I felt pigeonholed. I wanted to prove that I had range. I wanted to play kings, Richard III, professionally, villains, romantic leads, who were not defined by just their Jewishness. And at the time, I framed it as artistic ambition, but looking back, I know it was something else. I still harbored so much internalized shame about who I was that I convinced myself that in order to be taken seriously or accepted, I needed to soften or disguise myself and the very qualities that made me who I am. And when you spend all of your energy trying to hide those pieces of yourself, you have no energy available for anything else, for creativity, for connection, for storytelling, for joy. And it took me many years to realize what now feels incredibly simple, like what Billy referenced, that an authentic life is a limitless life. And that realization didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly and awkwardly and imperfectly. And it happened because of communities and spaces where people insisted that our full selves were not just acceptable, but worthy of celebration, like my beloved Broadway community, like being in rehearsal for falsettos where Jewish queers were front and center and worthy of Tony Awards. Which brings me to why organizations like JQY are so extraordinary and vital. To me, JQY doesn't just offer kids a sense of safety and belonging. It offers them something much more profound. It offers them a chance to reclaim their humanity. It gives young people permission to exist without apology, to explore their identities without fear, to understand that being Jewish and queer are not contradictions, not problems to solve, not identities to reconcile. They are sources of richness, history, humor, resilience, and strength. And maybe most importantly, JQY gives kids something many of us didn't have growing up. I know I certainly did. A head start on radical self-acceptance. And my hope is that the young people who walk through JQY's doors today will reach adulthood without carrying the same weight of doubt and shame that so many of us did. That they will grow up knowing instinctively that the things that make them different are the very things that make them powerful. And hopefully one day when they themselves become icons, and believe me, they will, they already are, they can own it proudly. So again, thank you, Rachel and the JQY staff, Dovey and Rachel Sussman, for the work that you do, for the lives that you change, and for creating a space where authenticity is not something that you have to fight for. Thank you to my unapologetically Jewish parents for loving me in all of my iterations. Thank you to my unapologetically gay husband for loving me when shame finds its way back to my front door. I'm so incredibly moved by this. I don't really know what to do, and the beta blockers are wearing off, so I'm gonna go, but thank you.